Hoffman, filled with anger, remembered how only a few years ago Fabius had been flattering him. He wondered how Fabius dared to act this way now. Rising abruptly from his chair, he told Fabius that he had truly lost his mind. Fabius replied that Hoffman was the one who failed to understand the situation. Standing up as well, he reminded Hoffman that Dmitri had never bowed even to the Kronos Empire. Then in a threatening tone he warned that no matter how much gold Hoffman possessed, it could not solve every problem in the world. Dmitri, he said, knew the limits of money and acted like a gentleman, but if Hoffman continued to oppose them, they would be forced to make a decision. He asked Hoffman what gave him the confidence to behave so arrogantly, and added that if Dmitri decided to have him assassinated, his gold would not be able to save him. Hoffman was shocked, realizing he had never considered the possibility of an assassination order from Dmitri. Fabius went on, telling him that if he did not wish to start a war, he should lower his gaze. Hoffman, furious, stormed out of the room and slammed the door behind him. Fabius and Viscount Vincent remained. Fabius, smiling now that Hoffman was gone, said it was time for the real players to have a proper conversation. Count Vincent, surprised, asked what he meant. Fabius explained that cutting ties with the Golden Bank would directly affect the Vincent family, but assured him they would be properly compensated. Releasing his aura, he said that Dmitri was not a cold-hearted nation. Baron Vincent thanked him for sparing him. The scene then shifted to Hoffman, who muttered that even Kronos, the greatest power on the continent, acknowledged him, yet Dmitri dared to humiliate him. Furious, he slammed his hands on the table and, standing before a portrait of his ancestor, recalled the lesson passed down through generations, that if he ever faced a problem money could not solve, he must seek the hidden secret of the Golden Bank. He was astonished that such a moment had come during his lifetime. Taking a dagger, he cut off his own hand and pressed a button beneath the portrait with it. The button began to glow, revealing a hidden doorway. It was said that the Golden Bank's origins were one of the continent's great mysteries. No one knew where they came from or how they had gathered such immense wealth. As the doorway opened, Hoffman entered and found piles of gold bars, with a bust wearing a golden crown at the center. The bust began to shine and emitted waves of sound toward him. Hoffman knelt and greeted Lord Alexander, saying that his servant had finally come before him. At that moment, Hoffman faced the true meaning behind the Golden Bank's existence. A month later, Marquis Valentino asked if Lord Dmitri had emerged from the workshop yet. Hans replied that he would inform him as soon as it happened. Valentino instructed him to contact him first without fail and then left. After some time, Valentino asked again and was told that Dmitri still had not come out. As more days passed, he began to suspect something unusual and told Hans he could no longer wait in the guest room. He decided to wait in front of the workshop and asked Hans to show him the way. Hans replied that it was not permitted. Feeling upset, Marquis Valentino protested and said he had only said he would wait. Hans apologized but said he could not allow it. Then Hans began to worry, thinking that Roman was taking unusually long and wondering if something had happened. After some time, Hans stood in front of the workshop with Lord Felix and asked if he could use magic to see what was happening inside. Felix agreed and used magic resonance sensing to look within. When he saw the scene, he was shocked and wondered what was going on inside. Inside the workshop, Roman was surrounded by flames as he forged the sword. He spoke to himself about the power of the flame demon he had obtained beneath the endless mountains. Though the power was bound to him, it still resisted control. He said that if they were truly connected by fate, then it should obey his will. He began using the flame fire divine art. A memory flashed before him of a dwarven smithy who had warned him that the flame demon was a power no being could control. When the gods granted fire to the world, it brought both warmth and destruction. The smith had told him not to try to control it but to accept its power, as that was the true nature of the flame demon. Roman thought about how uncontrollable it was and wondered if that was simply the natural order. Then, rejecting that idea, he declared to himself that it was not. He reminded himself that he had always obtained everything he desired and claimed that the power was his. The flames wrapped around him completely. Meanwhile, one of Marquis Valentino's subordinates told him that it had already been 15 days and suggested that he return to Cairo since he had neglected his family's affairs for too long. The Marquis refused, saying he could not leave yet. With excitement, he said he had been waiting for this moment and would not miss the sacred event of the sword's completion. His subordinate seemed to give up, but just then, someone opened the door and announced that Lord Roman had finally emerged from the workshop. Marquis Valentino stood up immediately and said they should go to Dmitri Castle at once. In Dmitri Castle, Roman looked at the sword he had forged. As he gazed at it, he thought that it was perfect and that with this sword he could finally attempt what he had planned.